God bless America. Hello, everybody. Talk Radio Protege here. This video is going to sound a little bit different because I had to change the venue for recording. It's actually so hot outside in my car that it overheated my phone when I was recording previously. So I've had to move into a slightly more public area. So I'm going to be trying to keep my voice down a little bit. That being said, I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you'll leave a like and subscribe when we make it to the end. That being said, let's get into it. This article from the Daily Mail lists all of the people and organizations that Hillary Clinton has so far blamed for losing the 2016 election. Give us a little sneak preview, but I'm going to try to move relatively quickly through this list. Number 1 and 2 on the list are James Comey and the FBI. Now, the short version is, if you don't know what Comey and the FBI did last year during the election cycle, was basically make public a lot of information regarding an investigation into the way that Hillary Clinton was improperly handling classified information on a private email server that was illegal, by the way. And because it was handled in public, a lot of information that otherwise probably wouldn't have made it into the public sphere did make it into the public sphere. And I have no doubt that this hurt Hillary's chances in the election. But what's important to remember is that Hillary Clinton pointing out that Comey and the FBI are to blame for her losing is essentially pointing out that the truth about the way that she mishandled classified information is to blame for her losing the election, which should absolutely be a factor. I'm not sure when she blames these individuals or organizations whether or not she's saying that they shouldn't have done what they did or that they shouldn't have been a part of the election. But on some of these cases, as you're going to see, what she's really saying is there were things that she did that she didn't want in the public sphere, and these people and organizations were responsible for getting that information out. So let's move on. The next people that she blames is Vladimir Putin and the Russians. Now, it's no secret that foreign individuals and organizations work to influence elections all across the world. So it's no surprise that Putin and the Russians may have been involved in the election. We still don't have any. I still don't think we have any conclusive evidence that they were involved directly with Trump and his campaign. But if your campaign was so weak that it was pushed over by some Russian propaganda, then you probably didn't have a very strong campaign in the first place. And then the next blame lies at the feet of WikiLeaks, according to Ms. Clinton. And again, this is another one of those organizations that she's blaming for her losing the election, and all they did was get the truth out. With regards to WikiLeaks, they got the truth out regarding Podesta emails that revealed collusion between the DNC and the mainstream media. It revealed that stories were sent from the media to the Clinton campaign for approval. It also revealed that debate questions were sent from at least one of the hosting media organizations to the Clinton campaign ahead of time. Next up, we have low information voters, and this is a group that the left usually doesn't talk about. It's usually left up to the right to talk about low information voters, because the left wants as many low information voters as they can get, whereas the right wants as many people to be high information voters as they can possibly get. So when Hillary Clinton blames the low information voter, she's really blaming the voter that reacts to headlines. And they might see a headline that says something about like her example, Hillary Clinton is running a child trafficking operation in Washington with John Podesta. They see that headline and instantly believe it. And it's these kinds of voters that the right would like to see made more high information. But it's personally my opinion that we had a higher turnout of high information voters this time around. There were a lot more people that were more informed than in the past. The next place she lays blame is with the Electoral College. I don't think it's any coincidence that the Electoral College has only cost Democrats elections in the United States of America. But the president is supposed to represent the states of the United States of America, not necessarily the people of the United States of America. The founders didn't trust direct democracy. They studied places like Athens where there had been direct democracies, and they didn't want those systems for the United States. That's why we have a representative republic. So when it comes to the Electoral College, the president, the people are supposed to pick representatives from their states to go and elect the president. That's what the election is that we have every 4 years, and we have a lot of states that pass rules so that their Electoral College representatives do have to vote for the candidate that the people living in the state voted for. And that's the system that we have. That's the rules that you're supposed to play by. Unfortunately, right now, there are a lot of voters that don't understand this, and I think that Clinton is just trying to play to that ignorance by blaming the Electoral College for her loss. Moving on, anti-American forces. It seems kind of strange to me that this would be cited as a reason you lost, especially considering that the Democrat Party is the most anti-American group operating in the United States of America right now. They're the ones that are apologizing for all the things that America has done. They're the ones that plan policy based on diminishing America's power and role globally. So I don't see this one really being a credit to you. And she blames these two kind of go together. Everyone who assumed she would win and bad polling numbers. The reason that everyone assumed she would win was because of the bad polling numbers. And as polls, the way that the national polls especially are taken, are they just poll people in the country. And from what I understand, they don't really consider how those votes are going to play out within the Electoral College. So as we saw this time around, the popular vote went in favor of Hillary Clinton, and that is consistent with what the national polls were demonstrating. If you remember, the national polls demonstrated without fail that Hillary Clinton was ahead of Donald Trump in the popular vote by a few percentage points, as many as 10, as few as 2 or 3, or neck and neck in some situations. Of course, this is not representative of how the president is selected. So these bad polls that were just popular vote polls were leading many low information voters to assume she would win. So we kind of have a big collision of reasons. So maybe she got this one right, but when we get to the end, I'm going to say a couple of things that I think are might change your opinion on some of these reasons. Now, she blames Barack Obama, and when she blames Barack Obama, that's I'm not sure if that's code for Obama didn't do good enough of a job as president to get her elected, or if she just blames Barack Obama for being a better politician than she was. Now, this statement here in the second paragraph of the Barack Obama section, I thought was actually really interesting, and I looked it up just to verify. But she says, no non-incumbent Democrat had run successfully to succeed another two-termer since Vice President Martin Van Buren won in 1836. I looked this up, and it's actually true. Since the official Democrat Party of the United States of America came to be, they have never had two back-to-back two-term presidents. It's just strange to me. It seems that when the American people get a taste of what 8 years of a Democrat president is like, they tend to not like it and end up rejecting it. So let's move right along. And she's going to start getting into race and sex. She talks about white women. She says, absent of Comey, I might have picked up one or two more points among white women, which I don't think is going to win you the election, but it's the second paragraph here that's really striking, especially coming from a person who pretends to be a feminist like Miss Clinton. White women are really quite politically dependent on their view of their own society and their own position in society that works and doesn't work for them. So are women strong and independent individuals, or are they not? Because you seem to be saying that white women are incredibly gullible when it comes to political information, and she's actually going to say it again later on in another reason. She also blames the New York Times. She blames the New York Times for winning, and what the New York Times did to get her blame was they did their job. They covered a big news event that is her email issue. And that particular email issue is the one where she was illegally running a email server containing classified information. And they covered this event. I wouldn't compare it to Pearl Harbor. I would say that Benghazi was a lot more comparable to Pearl Harbor, but I would compare her illegal email server more to Watergate. So, maybe you can blame the New York Times, but you're blaming an individual that was doing the right thing for you losing. She blames Joe Biden, which is really confusing to me. I don't really see the blame that is going on in that group there. She blames Bernie Sanders. She blames a political opponent of hers in the Democrat primary for sabotaging her campaign by attempting to win, as if Sanders was not supposed to be there. It reminds me of the 2008 campaign where Obama wasn't supposed to be involved. 2008 was Hillary's turn until Obama came along, and then 2012 was supposed to, or 2016 rather, was supposed to be her turn, and I think that's one reason why the DNC was ready to rig the primary in Hillary's favor, because they didn't want her coming around in 4 years or 8 years asking for her turn once again. So yeah, she's blaming Bernie Sanders for sabotaging her campaign by doing what he was supposed to do. She blames Bernie Bros basically for being upset that their candidate had the election rigged against him. She blames people wanting change, and this is incredibly interesting to me. She says this, I thought at the end of the day people would say, look, we do want change, and we want the right kind of change, and we want change that is realistic and is going to make a difference in my life, my family's life, and my paycheck. That's what I was offering, and I didn't in any way want to feed into this, not just radical political argument that was being made on the other side, but very negative cultural argument about who we are as Americans. So Hillary Clinton was offering change, in her own words. She was offering change, and she didn't want to tell people. That sounds like political incompetence to me. That's not the people wanting change's fault. That's your fault for not communicating that you were offering what they wanted. Although I don't think she's offering what the people that wanted change wanted. When Clinton says, I was offering change that was going to make a difference in people's lives and to their paycheck, she definitely doesn't mean in a way that's positive. She blames the imaginary misogynist, just kind of an offhanded remark in an interview, people don't like a lying, manipulative, mean, evil person. It's not misogyny that means they don't like you. They don't like you because you're a bad person. She blames television executives who are undoubtedly on her side. She says that coverage is 32 minutes. There was a 24-hour television network that was dedicated to you getting elected, and you're going to blame their television executives for you losing. And somehow Netflix is to blame as well. The statement that that is cited is she said 8 of 10 political documentaries on Netflix were screeds against President Obama and me. I'm not sure if there's a way to verify that at this time. Going and looking at Netflix right now and searching for political documentaries, in the top 10, there's one that might be negative against Obama. So I just have a hard time believing this. The production studio that brought us Dear White People is also pushing political documentaries that are negative to President Obama and Hillary Clinton. I don't believe it. And then she blames Facebook and Twitter, which of course she does. These are the two organizations that are now realizing that if they want their political candidates to win, they're going to have to help. She basically is, again, blaming low information voters. And she's blaming low information voters because they were given access to information that they weren't going to process by these two media websites. So, yeah, I take that for what it's worth. Content farms in Macedonia. I'm skipping that one. Campaign finance. You had Citizens United come to its full fruition. And for you, those of you who don't know, Citizens United was a film that was made that was negative about Hillary Clinton, and she didn't want it to go public during an election year. When Hillary Clinton says Citizens United, she doesn't mean dirty money in politics. When Hillary Clinton says Citizens United, she means people criticizing her in an election cycle. This has nothing to do with money. She blames the media that was in her pocket for the entire campaign. 91% of media coverage in, I think it was the month of October, was negative towards Trump. So, yeah, you don't even get this one. The examples that she is quoted as citing is the way that the French press handled the hack of Macron. So basically, the French press apparently didn't do its job when it came to Macron's emails being released. And I'm getting a phone call, so that's going to be the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed. Come back tomorrow.